Okay guys, working a little bit late tonight just on a couple very small things that I wanted to show you. My rear shock reinforcements. So that's what we have, and that's what we're doing. So we're just gonna weld this up, plate it here, and I don't know if I'm gonna wrap around the backside. I don't think I need to, but that's what we're doing, and that's gonna be the end of pretty much the rear of this, other than a couple mounts for the radiator. So I gotta take the weekend off, enjoy time with the family, but man, we're getting there. I actually just had an issue where the car wouldn't start and the fuel pump wasn't turning on. Checked the fuse, and fuse was fine. Gave direct power to the fuel pump, started right up. So I think I have a bad fuel pump relay. Pretty much a non-issue, but it's kind of surprising when you haven't been driving a car and it's been sitting, and all of a sudden it doesn't start. So these things happen. Well boys, it's Monday morning. First thing I'm doing here, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. I can't take it anymore. It's driving me absolutely crazy. All right. Well guys, check out what we have going on here. This is what I came up with for the rear shock tower mount. This is 1/8 inch plate. So I plasma cut a hole here, drilled 2 holes for my shock mounts. And right now I have just through bolted it just to hold it in place. Now what I did is I just took a little piece of cardboard here to make a template. Let me show you what we got for this. So I did this just for size purposes to see what size plate I need, but that's gonna be my idea, right? So this is kind of gonna hang in free air here, but it's going to be welded here, 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 and if I really felt inclined, I could gusset it here. I don't think that's necessary. So this was my template, and now what I did was, if you look at the template, you see how it's tapered? Because if you look at the side, the actual shock tower is, sitting at an angle. So the big side is going to be like this. And what I'm going to do is take it, I'll go to the other side, it's already in here. I'll take it and I will mark, okay, first bend starts here. I'll bend this, mark the second bend, third bend, fourth bend, you know what I mean? And just wrap it around. And at the end, I will trace it and then just cut it with a saw afterwards to get that nice profile. Because to try to get that slope and everything right now would be very difficult. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll show you how that comes out. Well, there's one side tacked in place. Not too bad. It's gonna be super strong. I'm really not worried about, in order for this to fail, these welds here and here would have to tear up off of the 1/8 inch plate here that I boxed in before, and times 2. I'd have to do that on both sides. So I'm not stressed about it. Boxing this in is definitely helpful, and yeah, I think that's the right solution. I really don't see a need to gusset this or anything. Maybe if I feel inclined or getting fancy down the road, but as of now, I think that's gonna be pretty legit. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna get too crazy. This is gonna be beefcake enough, so just gotta replicate this on the other side and we're good to go. All right, so let me show you how I did the other side. Well, actually, this one's the opposite. So I already started getting these bends down here. This side, I started doing the bending this way, and I ran into an issue because wrapping around was a little tricky. Not a big deal, I got it figured out, but I did this one the intelligent way. And let me show you what I did. So I had to notch this out to get the height equivalent here to match this side here. So this part here is taller than this side by about 3/4 of an inch. So we just did that just to get our height down. And what I did was I just took a straight piece, marked the first one, bent it, marked second one, bent it, and now we're marking the third one. And we're going to bend it. Let's see, I don't know where my square went. Now I had those bent at a 45, approximately a 45. I'm sorry, not bent, cut. I had the strut tower braces cut at about a 45. So we're gonna try to match at least 45 degrees. Now this bottom die, this is just a quick, easy thing I did to make tight radius bends like this. It's just 2 pieces of 1/2 inch round stock welded to a piece of 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch is bowed at this point. I really need to just beef one up and do it properly. But until then, this does a good job. So I just kind of been doing it by feel. Ooh, that's pretty close. It's a little bit under, but let's see how that looks. Now, with this, I do have the liberty to, on this side, you know, if you are a little gappy or things are underbent a little bit, you can clamp it. On this one, I do have the option to slice the top a little bit if I need to make things really line up good, but look at that. So that's pretty mint there. So now, I gotta do my next one. And of course, I have a different tool for that job, or a different. And my square is over here. Just so you guys are wondering, I just used a Sharpie and a soapstone. This is soapstone, so this is actually a natural thing. And soapstone's great because it's white, much easier to see than a Sharpie. However, it wipes off relatively easily. So soapstone is not always good on certain things, but it's great on other things. I use it all the time. And it's much cheaper than Sharpies. Oh, that looks about 90 degrees to me. Like I said, I've been using that thing for so long now that it's like second nature. So let's see if this fits. Not too bad. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll clamp this all together so these will be nice and tight. I just have one more bend to do. And then at the very end, you can see how this is, you know, obviously protrudes. What I do is I just go and trace it. You know, once it's clamped, you know, I'm going to erase that just because it's not quite right, but I'm just giving you guys a visualization, that's the word, of what I do. So I just trace it like that, and I'll go and take it in the bandsaw. I set the bandsaw upright like this. And you just go through, and actually I could shear that too. I mean, either way, doesn't really matter. And then I'll bend this, do this, trace it, do the same on that side. Good to go. So that's a quick overview on how I do something like that. It's great to just make it all one continuous piece. It looks nice and clean. And at the end, it's stronger, you know, no welds. And it's a nice strong piece that does what it's supposed to do. Like I said, with 1/8 inch, it's nice. It's not very forgiving, but you can really clamp and squeeze it in areas if you have to. So stuff like this is not going to be rocket science, guys. I mean, you can get laser cut this and that and, you know, design it all on a computer. For someone like me, I mean, I knocked this one out here in about, oh, I don't know, 20 minutes. I mean, by the time I sat down at the computer and opened the program, 20 minutes would go by, you know? So, not like I have a computer program to do this stuff, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like in this application for what I'm doing here, it doesn't make sense. You know, it would take me years to do something crazy like that. So we just run and gun. And I don't know, I guess that's how fabricating goes. So this is looking good. I'm gonna get that finished up and we're gonna have some rear strut towers. So very cool. What a beefy car this is turning out to be. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention. I have decided that these are steel tube, right? This is 1/8 inch plate. These are heavy, relatively. This probably weighs 2 or 3 pounds. That probably weighs 2 or 3 pounds. What my plan is to do is to make bosses, right? So these sleeve into a tube and I'll through bolt them, make it removable. So the whole wing will be removable. And what I'm going to do is for now, I'm going to weld this up and use this as my template. And I'll probably use it initially, but I want to make this out of aluminum. So this will all be aluminum tubing, 3/16 aluminum plate, much lighter. And yeah, that way, if I do feel like we need to raise the wing up, right, we can raise the wing up, not a problem. And I can make different sized ones or make different sized adjusters, and we're not committed. So removable is key, and I'm pumped about that. Well guys, we're getting really close to getting this cage and chassis actually finished up. A couple more things I want to do. I want to get this thing pretty close to being ready to get lighting and mounted and get paint on this thing. Because as you can see, it's like 80-something% humidity. It does have a light surface rust to it. That'll all come off, no problem. But we don't want that to get exacerbated. So what I'm doing now is just adding a few more things and a couple more gussets, and we're gonna be almost done here. So we're just gonna do some A-pillar supports. So that's gonna go something like that. And then we have this tube I notched here. And that's gonna go right there. You can see that bottom one just needs to come down a little more. But what that does is, it's not totally necessary, but what that does is support this structure here. So if anything were to happen, this has a lot of extra support. I'm just going with 1 1/4 because it's lightweight. If I was building a bona fide, rally car or hill climb car or something like that, I'd do 1 3/4 because you want, you want that to be a stout part. But this isn't gonna be that level of a car. So what we're gonna do is, in order to keep weight in mind, this will work just fine. And I think it'll be just as acceptable. And it will definitely be a benefit for us. So I'm gonna get these tacked in place and we'll see what that looks like in just a second. Okay, we're taking a short intermission here so I can show you what I just got in. This is my steering wheel quick release. This is the NRG piece. This is the 2.5. And I just want to show you real quick how to install this. Very simple, and how to get the wiring to work so your horn works and everything. So here's your slip ring inside here. So your slip ring on the back of your steering wheel, it's a plastic disc, and it has pretty much a wire that's coiled up in it, like a flat, wire, or a flat piece that contains a bunch of wires. I forget what they call it offhand. But anyways, so that goes behind here. I have the short hub. So you need to buy this hub separately. These are like 30-something bucks. They're all over the place. They're not expensive. And then I got the short one. Other size ones are about 1 inch thicker, maybe 1.5 inches. I got the short one because my quick release adds depth. And then also I'm doing this right now and today so I can figure out what kind of offset steering wheel I want, if any. So real quick, just how to wire this. All the horn is, I believe, is just completing the circuit. So what we have here is your brown and your red wire, and your brown and your black wire, and you're going to cut those off your plug. This is the plug that goes to the back of the stock steering wheel, and all the rest of these wires are airbag wires. And so you're just going to take these two, which are your horn, and that's it. You just plug them in. This bolts onto here, and then your hub clicks onto there. Good to go. So that's what I'm doing right now. I tested it, everything works. So if you are installing this on a Z3, and I believe all E36s are the same, these are the two wires you want to use. Okay, so you guys just watched me make 2 identical pieces here. So these were pre-bent, what was it, yesterday? And they're going to replace these guys. These suckers are heavy, and I want to make this rear wing adjustable. So this was a good idea, and we're just pretty much mimicking it in aluminum. However, I do want to raise up the wing about another inch. So we're gonna have plenty of adjustability on this plate here. However, since we are going to raise it regardless, I'm going to raise the aluminum piece I'm making now 1 inch. Now, what I did was I bought some tubing at the local store that sleeves in perfectly to the aluminum. So this is just over 1 inch ID, like barely just over. I mean, there's actually a little burr on the edge, but I mean, this is a super tight fit. I did not deburr it here, and I actually did that for a reason. Now we have a stop, okay? So, with all that being said, we are going to relocate this here. Now, I think I'm gonna raise it up just a little bit as well. And what we'll do is we'll just get it tacked on and mimic the other side. So I have these 2 top pieces made for each side. I just have to make the bottom piece, which is at a greater angle here. So I'm going to do that right now. Just make a new bottom piece, and then we will be in good shape. And hopefully we'll be able to sleeve these in perfectly once they're tacked in. I'm going to tack them in just like this, okay? So they will be tacked in when they're fully in place. So in theory, as long as these don't move too much, these should be able to slide in and out and act as a receiver, no problem. We'll put a bolt through there, good to go. These are approximately 2 inches from the inside of the cope to the edge. So that should be plenty of area, so there's no wiggle room or anything like that. So let me get this bottom one knocked out on the other side, and we'll get these suckers tacked on and see how it looks. And we are almost out of gas, it seems like. That's okay though. That was just the first tack there. So that, see how we have this kind of flexibility? What we're gonna be able to do now is put the wing on, and what I'm going to do is leave the steel one on here. So it gives it a known spot where I know it clamps to, I know everything's straight and square, and then we'll just visually line it up there. But this is my intention right here. To be able to pull these in and out is the name of the game. So these are tacked into place, one on the top, one on the bottom. I have a little bit of side to side, but I think we're in the neighborhood. We're gonna be real close because this was more or less in plane, but this is what I had envisioned right here. That's it. So as long as we don't gusset in between here, it will actually have a little bit of spring. So you can see here, it's just just the angle and everything it's at, it's a little bit off, but it's zero issue. Done. So hopefully it'll all go in one piece. If not, I mean, these are gonna be 2 separate pieces. So you put this one in, put that one in, and the wing goes in last, not a problem. If that's the way it has to go. I'd love just to have 2 bolts here, 2 bolts on the other side, and this whole piece is just removable all at one. I think with 2 people, it would be no problem. So that would be cool. That'd be really cool. And now I can have adjustability. For some reason, I want to put some bigger wing or, you know, something crazy on here. I now have receivers to do so. Or I can have it wingless if I want to go that route. I mean, not likely that that will happen. So what I'm gonna do is drop the car, get it spun around, get the wing back on the lift, and to make sure it all lines up. I think I'm going to redesign these a little bit because I want the wing to sit back more. So already this is 1 inch higher in more rearward than it was. So I might have to kind of tilt that bracket a little bit. So I'm gonna get the wing up there and get it bolted down, and then we will replicate this on the other side and then see what we're looking at for our riser plate, let's call it. And yeah, very cool though. Exponentially lighter just by switching to aluminum, because I had to use thick wall 1 inch to do this steel. We're saving at least 10 pounds, I would say. Very heavy stuff, and this is, you know, 1/8 inch plate, but it's a 6 inch piece. I mean, this is a bulky unit. So very happy we're going this route. I think it's going to be pretty fantastic. All right, here's the end result. I put a level on the top, and we are 0.6 degrees lower on this side than this side. Not losing sleep over that one at all. We have adjustability on both of these, so you can go in and out. Plus we have our risers with adjustability. We'll take up all that slack. It's at this point, it's not worth me cutting these tacks and, you know, redoing that to get that resolved. So I'm gonna call it a night. A little slow progress on the Z Kart this week because I've been working on these, or this. It's an S54 oil pan designed and custom fabricated to go into a E30. I've been doing these for a while. I just restarted doing these to kind of help pay the house funds and all that stuff. But yeah, that's something I do, and they're time consuming, big time. But they're worth it for the right deal. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. I'll go over this actually shortly. I'll show you guys exactly what I do, how I chop it up, and the whole deal on the next one. But that's what I've been working on. And as of now, this is the progress we made tonight, and I will get back at it tomorrow. I want to get the wing and the new aluminum risers tacked on and get the wing bolted on, and hopefully actually finish welding this and get the wing like done. That way I can finish welding these and get the entire, be able to remove this and then focus on getting the cage painted, because that's my goal. I have a few more gussets. I have these tubes to weld. I have a few more gussets. I have to, that seat wasn't bolted in. I have to brace the seat from the back and just add a few things here and there. Really, it's like a long day's worth of work is all I have left on this cage. And then we'll focus on doing rear bumper and stuff afterwards. But as of now, I really just want to get this thing primed and drivable. That's my goal. So whatever that takes, it's certainly going to be stiff enough and structural enough to make that happen. So that's what we're going to do. So thank you very much for your support. You guys have been a huge help, and I really appreciate the comments, the input. I do take it seriously. I read through the comments and I see what you guys say. You know, I'm really starting to think about the radiator deal, tilting it back, and now I can add a kind of a new aspect to the rear end of this car, because this car is very nose heavy. I mean, you see the Z, the coupes, the Z coupes, and they are, well, they don't call them clown shoes for no reason. So we don't really want to make this look like a clown shoe, but it is what it is, kind of at the same time. So we'll dress something up in the back here and make it pretty cool. But until then, or until tomorrow, I gotta let the dogs out. They gotta go to the bathroom and eat dinner. So we'll catch ya.